Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are joining me again on the starting grid here at Autodrom Most, right behind me. So many horsepower, I can't even count it. And you wouldn't really want to be standing where I'm standing in about, 7 minutes time, because all the cars behind me will storm down into the first corner, and hopefully it won't be so much drama as it was on a couple of occasions this day already. We've had a couple of crashes. I think everybody will like to enjoy maybe a little calmer evening. However, we are still in for one thrilling, exciting race. It's the hour-long endurance race here at Autodrom Most to top off the Saturday's program. The cars behind me, and we have got the pairing of Reinhard Koffler and Tomáš Miniberger with their KTM GTX here on my right-hand side. Maybe let's try and take a look if we can squeeze in and get some last-minute impressions, maybe, if we may. Hi, can we ask one simple question? Hello. Hi. So you've had quite an interesting sprint. Damage. All team was hands-on on the car during the red flag to fix it. We still see the tape all around the car, but you did a good race. I guess you are hoping for a more calmer evening, but what can you expect from this race?
Yes, I mean, we are on pole, so we should get the best possibility for the start. The sprint race was great, also the team effort to fix the car now, and we see that we fight, but at the end it can happen, and now we go all in.
How is the atmosphere in the team? I guess after such effort, it just brings the whole team even more together, right?
Yeah, it's great. They're really great. So I'm really happy to join the RTR project here, and now I have to get in the car, so thank you so much.
Fantastic, have fun. And we'll try and make our way to the other side of the front row here, because Antal Gigot is already sitting in the car. I'm sorry. Antal Gigot's already sitting in the car, getting ready for the race, and we've got Denis Vašek, who will be pairing him in today's endurance race. Denis, unfortunately, both you and Antal had a very unfortunate situation into the first corner in the sprint earlier on. I guess you'll be hoping for a more calm afternoon, but you've got the M6 still to drive. Maybe tell us a little bit about your prospects into this race.
Yeah, the first sprint race was really awful. That's why I'm not starting this race. I have enough starts today, I guess. But I think Gregor will do a great job. He just has to stick to the position or to a close to top position, and I hope to finish the race and bring it home for us.
And yeah, what exactly happened? I don't really want to get back to it too much, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your car, how it looks now.
Yeah, the car is wrecked. I had a first touch with the KTM, which was kind of my fault, but the impact was not so hard. But then Antal smashed me against the KTM again, and so the front, even the sides, like the car does look good. Yeah, so not a good race.
Well, we definitely wish you a better afternoon. Have fun, enjoy this one, and as we keep on going, we still have a very little time left. We aren't going to make it all the way through the grid, of course, because we've got 21 positions, 11 rows. Beautiful cars. You can see the predominantly purple KTM. It's Viktor Mraz and Maťo Homola, who actually scored a victory in the race earlier on in the TCR, and now he's helping the KTM team. Just a quick word with Maťo. Hi Maťo, you scored a victory in TCR. This is a very different machine, so what can you expect from this, I would even say, evening's race?
Yeah, first of all, to survive the first corner, as we saw in the sprint, it was really tight and dangerous, let's say. Try to have a good pace without any interventions of the safety car, and have a good race together with the victor, and hopefully to be on the podium and victorious in the GTX.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. And with that, we're going to be leaving the grid and expecting the great action for the last time on this Saturday evening. We are opening the 2023 season here in Germany. First of the 6 calendar events that are ready for us this year.
Oh, there's contact between Joachim Gallage and Libor Milotan.
There is the race leader, Filip Salaguarda. They are now going to be side by side across the line, but Gallage is prevailing. Joachim Gallage scores another victory.
With his teammate, there's a slight touch in the first corner.
What a move that was! And he's third, and there's a contact. Luckily, everybody else has managed to avoid that car. This is going to be a photo finish between the two Lambos. Who's first? It must be Denis Vashek. Unbelievable! This is a big crash, massive crash. So the cars are on the formation lap, 4,212 meters for the last time in a race preparation, and then the final hour of racing action here in Most. It's the endurance race that we've been looking for, and the cars are already on the track, getting everything prepared, getting everything in the optimal working window so that all the cars are ready to pounce immediately from the first braking zone. Of course, we've seen a couple of big accidents today. Luckily, it's just car damage and a bit of ego. However, we will still have a full field roaring down the start and finish straight into the opening chicane. We've got Gregor Gigot on pole in his BMW M6 GT3, and he will be sharing the car during the race with Denis Vashek. Of course, this is a race with a mandatory pit stop around the halfway mark, where if you're driving in a pair, you've got to do the driver swap, but you can also do the entire race yourself. We've got Reinhard Koffler and Tomáš Miniberger sharing their KTM, and I beg your pardon, they are actually on pole position, of course, for the endurance race and for the GT racing in general, because we have rolling starts. We've got the pole position on the inside line, so it is Reinhard Koffler and Tomáš Miniberger together on pole. It's Reinhard starting the race alongside Gregor Gigot in the M6 BMW. Behind them, the pairing of Kunica and Peklin, car number 84, and on row number 2, Maťo Homola, who will be sharing the purple car with Viktor Mraz. We are back on the start and finish straight. Still a bit of dust after the Renault Clio Cup crash earlier on, but the lights go green and we are racing here in Most. Koffler immediately into the lead, still puts a little bit of temperature into the tires, into the first chicane. He goes so far with no incidents. That's good to see through the Titan twisty chicane. Some of the bollards are already flying through the air. That was expected, but no big drama this time out, and it is Reinhard Koffler leading us away. Of course, this is a longer race than a sprint, so it would be even less smart to bin your chances right away. So everybody seemingly way more cautious than in the races up to now. There is still a lot of time to make up ground and do something about your position. It is Reinhard Koffler leading from Gregor Gigot. Fantastic onboard. That's a new thing. You are joining erstwhile TCR race winner Mathieu Homola in his office for today. That's the purple KTM GTX in the Karin Racing's livery. And it needs to be said that the GTX KTM, we've already got quite a lot of them on the grid. There is also the Yannick Motorsport prepared car shared by pairing of Kokkola and Mayer, car number 73. And of course RTR Projects. Fielding not one but two GTX KTMs with a bit of telemetrical data for you there. It's great to watch, and Mathieu Homola immediately puts Gregor Gigot under pressure in his M6. There we go. Look how much Mathieu has to fight with his car, especially in the fight with the M6. Normally when you can choose your line, you can actually go about in a very calm way, not that many corrections if the car is properly set up. But of course, once you are trying to deal with a car of a, let's say, very different structure, very different type, you've got very different cornering speeds, braking zones, accelerations. You've got to be constantly correcting the direction in which your car is going, and you're fighting with clean air, dirty air, everything going on at the same time. And you've just got to make sure that you got your entries and exits right so that you can fight the other car. Now look, there was a little mistake from Gregor Gigot, missed the apex, now understeered a little bit, and just look how quickly the KTM catches up with the BMW. But then of course the straight comes, and another mistake from Gregor Gigot. He left it really late for braking, went really deep into the corner, and Mathieu, very experienced driver, specifically from touring car racing, where it is a wheel-to-wheel action, door-to-door action pretty much in every single race. So navigating your way through traffic, that's what Mathieu has been practicing and fine-tuning and finessing over, well, I would say, a good half of his life. So he was immediately ready once there was an opportunity. You saw that he swerved left, and even though it was the longer way around the outside, he managed to put his GTX ahead of the BMW, which now means that it is the two KTM GTXs leading the way. It's actually the GT2 Special, fielded by RTR Projects, that's leading the race in the hands of Reinhard Koffler. Mathieu Homola with the Karin Racing Special currently in second, and we've got one of the Porsches getting into view. It's the DB Motorsport car number 611 that is now immediately fighting with Trevor Racing's BMW and getting through. In fifth, we have got the GTC class leader. It's the pairing of Kunica and Peklin. The Porsche number 84. Prepared by GT Sports Technology team. And they also have the newer generation of the 911. Also in the field, shared by the regular team's pairing. Petr Brecka and Karel Neff. They are currently fifth in their class. We've got Julius Bernhard and Coach McKenzie in P6. And behind them it is the Porsche 911, the 992 Cup, the Cup version. Prepared by Aditis Racing. It is the pairing of Radim Adamek and Eastern European TCR champion Bartosz Groszek. Who in the meantime has also been racing Lamborghinis, so he's there to help Radim get more familiar with the Porsche that he bought himself. Jakub Knoll in Mechanik Motorsports Lambo in 8th overall, 3rd place in the GTC class. And then it is the pairing of Petr Fulin Jr. and Jirka Navratil in the team's new Audi R8 GT3, the car that won the sprint race earlier on today in the hands of Petr Fulin. But this time it is his son, sharing the duties together with Jirka Navratil. They then have got the dad and son pairing, so another dad and son, but this time they are actually sharing the car for the race, and it's Miro and Adam Konopka in the ARC Bratislava Lamborghini Huracan. That's the car, number 44. And behind them it's the other RTR projects, GTX KTM, pairing Petr Lisa and Ondřej Rokos. Hubert Darmetko, Mateusz Lisowski in P12. And there is Aditis Racing's Porsche in the view currently, the car number 38, just ahead of Jakub Knoll. Rudolf Beňo in the meantime leading the GT4 class for Aris Racing, the BMW M4. Rudolf Beňo, who should probably do the entire race himself, of course under mentoring from Richard Gonda this weekend as well. And there's your race leader, Reinhard Koffler. But this fight is unraveling rather interestingly. It's the Porsche number 38 under pressure. Radim Adamek defending from Jakub Knoll. It's a GT Cup class fight for second in the category. Behind them the GT3 Fulin Racing's Audi. Now, if we check the Endurance Racing's standings, but in a moment, because we have another fight on our hands. Gorgigo has to give away one more space, one more position. It's Julius Bernhard overtaking him in the HP Racing's Lamborghini Huracan. It's the GT3 Evo. But if we go back to the standings so far this season, we have got Miro Konopka leading the championship when it comes to the GT3 classification with 29 points. He's actually on par on points with Gregor Žigo. Exact same results, offset by one weekend. Miro Konopka leading thanks to his results coming a little earlier in the season. Otherwise they are identical. Antal Žigo then in third with 21.5 points, so 7.5 points adrift. And Denis Vašek currently in fourth with 20 points. Rudolf Beňo leading the GT4 classification with 34 points to his name and a couple of victories with Richard Gonda, his teammate, currently second due to the fact that he's not doing all the races. Among GTCs, it is actually Jakub Knoll and Josef Záruba sharing the top spot. They've been racing together. In the GTC1 class, it's actually been a very close fight. We've got the pairing of Petr Brecka and Karel Neff on 43 points in first, but so is also Hubert Darmetko, who's racing his own Porsche. And then Viktor Mraz, who will take over the car from Maťo Homola, leading the GTX drivers classification from Petr Koukola, together with Vašek Janík. Adam Konopka, fifth in that classification, on same points, on level with points with Adam Kolt. And it's really rather great that we've been able to enhance the experience for you viewers, and for the endurance we are able to provide and offer the onboard footage, this time from the GTX KTM. Great deal has been achieved with that, so it's interesting to see the race from the racing driver's perspective. There's a fight. Konopka versus Knoll. They have both dealt with the 38 Porsche, the Porsche number 38. Tiny little mistake from Knoll. He leaves the door open on the inside. The ARC Lambo still remaining in arrears. Up ahead, it's the Full In Racing's Audi. We've done the first quarter of the race, and we do have two cars in the pit lane already, which is a bit unfortunate. I was going to say that we haven't lost any car so far, which is great to see, but we've got a couple of cars in the pits. It's still too soon for the mandatory pit stop, and there is a fight. The ARC Bratislava Lambo coming through. Nice move on Jakub Knoll. He left the door open under the Orlen gantry. And through goes the Lambo number 44. As I mentioned, for the mandatory pit stops, it's still a tad too soon, because Normally the mandatory pit stops are being dealt with between the 25th and 35th minutes of the race. Another fight. This is a Porsche Cup fight. 38 versus number 7. That's a pairing of Darmetko and Lisowski in the Porsche that is currently chasing in this fight. Nice one into the first chicane. It's actually racing debut for Radim Adamek with his brand new Porsche. He had been racing in the Eastern European TCR prior to that with RS3 Audis, but he'd got himself a new Porsche and spent the first half of the season practicing, fine-tuning, learning the car. So did a couple of practice sessions and test sessions during the together with the ESETCup series, but this is a racing debut for the car, just like the Full-In Racing's Audi R8. Again, has already been tested. This is the first weekend where they roll it out on the track in racing conditions. It is only natural, of course, because Petr Fulin himself has got a lot of experience with the local track. It's directly his home track, the closest one to where he lives, and this is the track that he knows extremely well, has had lots of success in touring car racing and cup racing in the past, actually even starting his career in a Cup Skoda Octavia way back then under supervision of a certain Jirka Jupa, whom we also have in the paddock this weekend. He's sharing the driving duties with Pavel Sovička in their GT4 Lotus Emira, a brand new car prepared by the Blue Garage Racing. So nice reunions up and down the paddock here and there. As we are still watching the scrap between the two Porsches, 38 and number 7. It is for 11th overall, but it's actually for 3rd in the Cup class, which means it's actually for the podium. And look at this, this is becoming interesting. It's actually fight for 2nd overall. So Mathieu Homola is gonna have to watch his rearview mirrors now. And this would be interesting actually even from the onboard footage from Mathieu's car, because we did have that, oh there it is. We have that rear mirror, the view from the rear mirror. And you can actually see how close together they're getting and what it actually looks like from the driver's perspective in a race when you have so-called full mirrors of another car, of another driver. How it must feel when you've got somebody really close to you, breathing down your neck, putting pressure on you. It is the Porsche number 611 of the pairing of Tverazer and Hermann Speck. DB Motorsports Porsche 991 GT3R Gen 2. And Hermann Speck flashing his headlights, trying to get some sort of advantage. That's a tactic that you normally do in endurance racing and GT racing. With 38 minutes left on the clock, we still have plenty to watch and plenty to do in today's endurance race. We're about to start the mandatory pit stop window, and the Porsche number 611 goes through. Mathieu Homola decided not to really stage a big fight against. They are different classes, so doesn't really make that much of sense. And for Mathieu, as the experienced driver, the pro driver, it is his job to get the car ready and most importantly bring it back in one piece, so that Victor Mraz can then take over during the pit stop and enjoy his half of racing afternoon. It's a racing circuit in actually a very special surroundings, but a beautiful, beautiful surroundings, and even the entire region in the northern Bohemia. Ooh, a little correction. You noticed how the car actually jumped over the curb, over the outer edge of the curb, and got unstable a little bit. So a tiny correction was needed to keep the car in the correct direction. You also saw that the turn number 7 definitely isn't flat out in these cars. It's a really tricky corner. And it's an interesting car, the GTX, the KTM. We've just been chatting to Tomáš Miniberger in the pits right before the race. And although it's pretty much a pure track-bred car designed to go racing, it's a car that can even be homologated for the use in the roads, which is in a way a bit surprising. I immediately imagine myself pulling up in front of a supermarket in such a car and lifting the entire canopy and go shopping for groceries and then go home in it. It's definitely a car that's way more suited for racetracks, and that's what it's meant for. 34 minutes left on the clock, which means that we are already inside the pit stop window. We've got first cars arriving in. This is the M6 BMW, prepared by Trevor Racing, so it is Gregor Gigot leaving the car, and he will be replaced by Denis Vasek. We had a little chat with him on the grid. Unfortunately, not the best of days for him today after that big crash earlier on in the sprint. So, you know, has to adjust the seat before he'll enter the car, strap himself in. We've also got the ARC Bratislava Lamborghini Huracan, and if I'm not mistaken, also the RTR Projects KTM. Yeah, that was the pairing of Lisa and Rokos. And is this Mathieu Homola coming in? Yep. Yes, it is. Also the GT Sports Technology Porsche in the pits. And I believe we've got one other car doing the same. This might be a tiny little bit tricky for Trevor Racing's BMW. He may need to push it a little further back to avoid the KTM that stopped right in front. And at least, oh, and we've got an issue. This is Mechanic Motorsports Lambo, one of them suddenly stationary. And by one of them, I mean the only one in this race, which is, of course, Jakub Knoll. So Trevor Racing's BMW leaving the pits with Denis Vasek behind the wheel. We've got further cars in the pits. It's now the PTT Racing's Porsche number 7. It is GT Sports Technologies Porsche number 85. ARC Bratislava's Lambo coming back out from the pits. And I didn't manage to get a proper look, but I believe it is now Miro Konopka at the wheel of the ARC Bratislava's Huracan. This is Karin Racing's GTX in the hands of Viktor Mraz for the second part of the race. And we've got the purple car back out on track. The Slovakian driver taken over from his countrymen. Also full in Racing's Audi is in the pits. While Reinhard Koffler is still enjoying his KTM GT2 in the race lead. And he's just driven across the start and finish line. We've just had Yannick Motorsports KTM also in the pits, and if I saw correctly, that may have even been Adam Coate coming out. Maybe not, maybe just one of the team members. Saw it quite from the distance. Either way, we've got further cars in the pits. There's Bob Bau in his Porsche, Kogelbauer Motorsport. And this is an interesting fight that has resulted from the pit sequence of these two teams. It is HP Racing's Lambo and DB Motorsports Porsche. Now currently fighting for second place overall, but these two have not been to the pits yet, actually. So we are still waiting for them in the pit lane. Just like for the leading KTM. And we still have the stranded Lamborghini, the Michalik Motorsports Lamborghini, on the exit of the pit lane. It's sort of in between the pit exit and the track itself, and I'm not really sure whether that's a very safe position to be standing in. And I'm a bit surprised that we do not have any safety car or something, because it's directly at the side of the track. And should there be a fight or something and an overtaken attempt, I would be a little worried that there could be a big crash happening. There we go. You may have just noticed the stranded Lambo on the right-hand side of your picture through the chicane. This is Denis Vashek, braking a little late into the first corner. This is Lemma Racing's GT4 Mercedes, Andrej Makarovic. And is it Ivan Pulic? So DB Motorsports Porsche coming into the pits, therefore leaving the second place for HP Racing's Lambo for the moment. We still have got the pit stop window open. We're lapping the track in about 1 minute 35, 33 for the fastest cars. So there is still time for the drivers to get in the pits, but the pit stop window is about to close quite soon, as we just entered the second half of today's race. Coming through. That's the leading KTM, but it is now taking the turn and coming into the pits. So Reinhard Koffler is going to hand over to Tomáš Miniberger. And there is Lemma Racing's Merc exiting the pits. Being briefly shown the blue flags, and there is an interesting fight. That's two KTMs behind one another. The one at the front is RTR Projects KTM. Pit stop window is now closed. So of course the cars that are in the pits now can of course return back to the track, but you have to at least have started with your pit stop by now. There's an attempt from quite a distance, a little correction. Both cars are now safely through the chicane. And that was Victor Mraz. Overtaking, and it must already be Ondřej Rokos. Who, by the way, is enjoying his first ever race of any sort. So far he's only done track days, and it's not his first race in GT cars, it's his first race ever. So this must be one heck of an experience on a Saturday afternoon here in Most at the beginning of August. We were actually chatting in the pits earlier on, and I said, so no things like Twingos, Clios, TCRs, nothing like that, no preparation, right into the deep water? Yes. No time to lose, Ondřej said. This is the other Audi R8. It's the GT4 spec, prepared by Seifert Motorsport. And it's the pairing of Chupa and Kosohov. They are currently 17th in the overall standings, but first in the E2 class. It's the only car in the E2 class, of course. This is yet another livery on a GTX. It's the Yannick Motorsports car. Up ahead, HP Racing's Lamborghini, which has actually taken over the overall race lead, by the way. From DB Motorsports Porsche, they are 4 seconds apart, so this is your new race leader after the pit stops. So the RTR Project's KTM that was leading up until the pits is now down in 4th, so there is some catching up to be done. This is Additis Racing's Porsche versus RTR Project's KTM. And a fight for 12th and 13th. Ondřej Rokos, he can, not really sure whether that was his first ever overtake, but definitely one of the first. And he can continue on to another one. There is the pairing of Petr Brecka and Karel Neff. Car number 85, GT Sports Technologies 992 Cup. But that is way further down the field. There's about 25 seconds difference between the two drivers currently. As we are entering the last third of the race, careful, careful. Denis Vašek trying to come through. We've got yellow flags somewhere. We have got yellow flags. And it's even a full course yellow, it seems. Yeah, we've got yellow flags all around the track, so this fight shouldn't be happening now. What is the reason? I'm struggling to find it, but we do have a full course yellow and a safety car. Race control says the safety car is out, but what for? Is it the stranded Lamborghini? The Mechanic Motorsports Lamborghini that has been left on the side of the road for good 15 minutes already. That's the only thing I can currently think of. And it would be, of course, correct to get rid of the car. Because there you see it. It's not really in a very safe position. But has been left stranded there for some time now. There's the safety car. Has it caught with the race leader? Is the HP Racing's Lamborghini? It appears to really be it. But what is the cause? We do not know. I believe that would be for the Lambo, but that would then have to mean that somebody would now go and retrieve the car. If not, then something else has been going on, which we are still unable to uncover. When even even team members are allowed out of the pits. That's interesting. Okay, so okay, we are getting rid of the Lambo. That's definitely a correct thing to do, and maybe it was smart-ish move to wait for all the pit sequence to end, so that we do not send anyone in between racing and rejoining cars. That is also in a way understandable, but now the Lambo is back in the pits, well within confines where all of the team members can go during the race, so they can now put the car back in the garage, and with that, that should be it for the safety car period. Of course, we've just entered another lap, so we'll do one more, and then the safety car will come back into the pits, and that'll be it. Still, amazingly, this is the only car that we've lost so far in today's race. So it's not a race of attrition. Well, even the races earlier on weren't, but there were, let's say, way more dramatic incidents happening during them. Some of the fans finding themselves on the screens. Well, our screen, we mean. No big screens around the track. As expected, safety car in this lap, and onto the final quarter, final 15 minutes of the race that is still ahead of us in this endurance race. It's been a delayed day, as happens so often, because the program is usually very packed in the ESETCup series. So much action that we have got in store for you, and yeah, once you delay one thing, then it already immediately has a knock-on effect on everything else. No time to lose, no time to waste, but that also means that we've delayed the end of today's program, of course. We are going green again with 15 minutes left on the clock, and it is HP Racing's Lambo leading the way. There is a couple of fights, but Yannick Motorsports GTX is not really on the same lap as the leaders, so naturally it is making way for the faster cars to come by. It's DB Motorsports Porsche currently in second, ahead of Karin Racing's KTM. That's the purple one, that's not currently in the view. This is GT Sports Technologies Porsche number 85. Shared by Petr Brecka and Karel Neff. So they are seemingly in third, but they're really not. They're also one lap down currently in that particular case, but second in the Cup class, actually. It is another Porsche of Darmetko and Lisowski, car number 7, that is leading the GTC category. Once again behind the paddock. At least the field is now bunched up a lot more after the safety car period, so a bit more on-track action, maybe even slightly off-track action. That was the GT4 Audi R8, and there's a big crash. Oh my, that went right into the barrier, right into the Armco. Ooh, there's contact between the ARC Bratislava's Lamborghini Huracan and RTR Projects KTM. Not again. Trouble for RTR Projects KTM, the one that was taped together during the red flag period in the GT Sprint earlier on today. Already getting a lot of damage and now smashing against the Armco quite heavily. After this touch, I was just looking on the live timing screen because we had one of the R8 Audis, that was the GT4 one, slightly off the track, or at least on the edge of the track. So I just leaned against my iPad here with the live timing screen, and then up I looked, and carnage again. And this is really uncalled for. This is very, very unfortunate. This is going to cost a lot, and it is bringing out the safety car one more time. No, 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 no. So this is the day over for Konopka family. Unfortunately, there was a contact. Let's see that. Oh, but the start was a little different. We saw the KTM actually spinning before it hit the Lambo, but what caused it to go spinning? That's the big question. Was it simply just losing control over the car and spinning into another one, or was it was there another touch right before that? Because, you know, the entire pack was bunched up, as I had just been saying. After the safety car period, car number 789 under investigation for crossing the white line at the pit exit. That is actually the GTX KTM that had been leading for the first half of the race. A pairing of Koffler and Miniberger. There we are. It seems that Tomáš Miniberger lost it on his own, and that's very unfortunate. It seems he lost it on his own, and just was sent careering into the Lambo. That was completely unexpected, and this is poor Adam Konopka. He has had his fair share of crashes. In his recent career. However, he had absolutely nothing to do with this one. Suddenly another car drove straight into him after a simple mistake. Well, that's it for the Lambo for today, of course. We'll see whether we'll be able to see the car tomorrow. And there's Miro Konopka. He immediately took pictures of the car and of the damage, assessed it together with the team. They are now pulling the car back into the garage, and it's the day over for Adam Konopka. So of course we've got the safety car out, and I believe that we will not really get much action left here. Oh, that was a big shunt. You can see the bent Armco on the right-hand side of your picture. Well, sorry, could see. I was now looking at various screens. Must have been a big hit for the GTX KTM, the RTR Projects KTM. And it will now be dragged through the gravel trap back somewhere where it can be retrieved back into the pits. And this will take time because, yeah, there it is. You see the damage. The whole rear end is smashed. That is a big one. And the entire rear axle has been hit, the entire structure. This is not going to be a super easy fix. Unfortunately, I was admiring the quick fix work in the pits and then on the grid right before the race, and the race is red flagged, and I believe it will not even be restarted with 8.5 minutes left. This will still take time to retrieve the car, and we're really getting towards the end of the day. well, graphics shows red flag, but I do not see confirmation of that at the race control screen, or do I? Hang on, oh yeah, I do now. Session will not be resumed. All cars continue directed to Parc Fermé, so the race is over. There it is. And the flags are being now waved all around the track, also on the electronic flags, the display panels. Ah, this is frustrating. We've just been chatting with Tomáš Miniberger right before the race. Generally enjoying the weekend, of course. Unfortunate contact and damage to this car in the sprint earlier on today. And this was a huge crash. Rear on into the barrier, but it was actually the Armco, so no tire barrier. Very hard impact. That caused a lot of damage to the car. That is not something that we want to see, but this simply happens. Slightest of mistakes, maybe a little too much power. Maybe a little too eager on the throttle, and the car just rotated straight into the Lambo and then was sent spinning rear on against the barrier. Bad luck for RTR projects today. Second race, second contact, and not a slight one. Which means that we have got the winner. It's the green Lambo HP Racing International, their Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo pairing of Julius Bernhardt and Coach McKenzie taking a victory. Among the GT3s, it is Gregor Žigon, Denis Vašek, victorious in their BMW M6 GT3. Then the pairing of Tverazer and Hermann Speck, the DB Motorsports Porsche, third overall, second in their class. Winners of the GTX class, that's Viktor Mraz and Maťo Homola for Car and Racing. Then winners for GTC, it's Hubert Darmetko and Mateusz Lisowski. And in the GT4 class, it is actually Lemma Racing and the pairing of Pulic and Mladenovic taking the victory from Blue Garage Racing's pairing of Sovička and Jupa and BA Motorsports Ivan Hřeňák. And that is it. So all of the cars are now being driven to Parc Fermé. There's also the Twingo still left after the qualifying. And that will be pretty much it for today. With that, well, that concludes the last race of Saturday's program. Let me just very briefly run through what you can expect tomorrow, because we will be back with the live stream, of course, again. And we start tomorrow, actually, at 9:50 with race number 1 of the Renault Twingo Cup. We continue immediately after that with the second race of Formula 4. Then we've got Suzuki Swift Cup, we've got TCR, we've got second sprint for the GTs, we've got second Clio Cup race, we've got third Formula 4 race, Twingo Cup, Suzuki. It'll be a day absolutely full of racing action, and we're really looking forward to that very much. But for today, with the race being red flagged and not resumed, it will be it. And that means that from me, Pavel Fabry, it is a very warm goodbye.